The story put out by the media, charities and government is that there are in fact legions of evil men, virtually holding their women prisoner and regularly battering them.
A domestic violence epidemic is sweeping Britain.
And this is what Stone called his attitude adjuster. It's a pickaxe handle. Here Stone had written "Mind your head," and on the other side he'd written "attitude adjuster."
The idea that a man who hits a woman with a pickaxe handle is typical of domestic violence is like saying that September 11th was a typical morning in New York. It doesn't make sense. Of course this is not domestic violence. This man is clearly deep in the land of crazy and that's the end of it. Why would our media be trying to present the outlandish behaviour of one man as an example of the suffering of countless women? Perhaps the best approach in tackling the inaccurate view of domestic violence that we're presented with is to ask the immortal question posed by Cicero in ancient Rome. When attempting to deduce who was responsible for a crime, he asked, "Cui bono?" Who benefits?
Cui bono?
Indeed! Who benefited?
When you look at who benefits most from a crime, it's often easy to work out who committed the crime. So who benefits from men being wrongly singled out as abusive? Who benefits from labelling women as victims and men as perpetrators? And how do they benefit? It's by asking these questions and following the money trail that we begin to get some answers.
Cui bono? Oh, I think we know.
For example, I came across this story featuring Anita Roddick.
It's the idea of Anita Roddick, the founder of the Body Shop. She's asking people to donate their old phones at any of her stores.
And what's this envelope? That's for old mobile phones that are broken or not in use anymore.
They'll then be specially converted and given to women at risk.
This will be very affected and in a very, very vulnerable time for women. He continues to stalk, he continues to threaten her with a lie, usually cuts the phone wires.
But I found this strange because I knew that the Body Shop Foundation had donated money to the Mankind Initiative, a charity with the principal role of assisting men who are victims of domestic violence. So why was she on the BBC talking exclusively about female victims, whilst quietly, behind the scenes and off-air, her company is helping men affected by domestic violence? If she really wanted to help these desperate women, why didn't she just open a free post service to return old phones? Why does she want women to personally go into her shops and hand in phones? This news article I came across explained it. The Body Shop had been having a hard time in business and it sorely needed a boost. Was she using the issue of domestic violence as a tool to gain free advertising on the BBC and to get women into her shops to spend money? As we'll see, that's very much the real story behind domestic violence in the news. Massive income generation. Domestic violence is big, really big. It's a hot topic that shows no signs of abating. And on the very same train platform. To see how big it is, just search on domestic violence and see what comes up. In fact, don't type domestic violence, this is bigger than that. Just type the word violence. Now ask yourself, how can domestic violence against women possibly be the first result on a global search on the word violence? This alone should give you an inkling that there's something rotten in the state of Denmark. Given a search on the whole subject of violence, domestic violence results should be on page 25, if even listed at all. Yet there it is, ranked above all other violence perpetrated throughout the world and throughout history. Above street crime, above wars, above even terrorism. Somehow, above all of the kinds of violence perpetrated overwhelmingly against men, domestic violence against women trumps them all. In the UK, domestic violence against women has been a major point of social consensus over the last 40 years. Journalists, agony aunts, police officers and Home Office ministers have all decided, against the empirical evidence, that huge numbers of men beat their wives and girlfriends, and that women who reported violence to the police were just the tip of the iceberg. Certain people and groups have a lot to gain from exaggerating the problem. Among these are counsellors, domestic violence experts, businesses focusing on women's products, certain charities, and various arms of government, including the prison service and the police. Collectively, this group of beneficiaries of domestic violence can be termed the abuse industry. The more that we're all persuaded to believe that lots of men bash their women, the more money these people receive, the more powerful they become. And we're talking hundreds of millions of pounds every year in the UK. And in the US, it's billions.